I think that's it. Hello and welcome to the That's So Craven podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Fulham. And I'll tell you what, it's been chaotic off air. I think it's going to be even more chaotic on air. And there's only one real reason for that. There is a man who has joined the After Dark crew, and he's been teasing for ages about it. And he's finally here, and it's 5 a.m. in Melbourne. And Sam is out here rocking a kimono. He's got the shades on from, I don't know, you look like Bugman. But Sam, what the hell is wrong with you? Why aren't you sleeping?
I regret being here so hard already. But you know what? I'm just happy to be with my boys again. And you know what? It was one of those things of like, if you can't beat them, join them. So I talked shit about you guys on the last couple of pods, and now I've fully jumped ship. I'm here. I'm locking in, and I haven't hung out with Mike yet. So I just wanted to chill. I just wanted to see what was up, get the feelers out. Again, if you guys are going to be the flagship show, let's do it right. Let's bring the kimono over. I'm just so delirious already. Like but I'm very happy to be here. I'm with my skivvy. I get the hang of a skivvy. It's been ages. Let's do the show.
I have to ask though. There's some precautionary questions. Have you had breakfast? Are you in the right kind of state of mind to do this podcast before we continue?
Do you really want to get into like the ins and outs of my morning routine? Because I like to say that
when did it start?
I typically function off of coffee and rage. So I'll usually have like an espresso, and then I'll keep me going till like 2 p.m. But this, like, we still need to introduce Mike. Like, we can talk about this throughout the show.
Yeah, but I mean, more importantly, I want to see, can you switch your diet for a week to the Jamie Vardy diet? And let's see how that one actually goes.
Oh, omelet and Red Bull. I mean, to be fair, yeah. I feel like that's the look that I'm giving off right now, omelet and Red Bull.
I think that'd be a pretty great experiment.
Well, there you go. From coast to coast, from one end of the earth to the other. Mike is with us from Boston. So hello, Mike. You're back again.
Thanks for having me back. And I actually checked my DMs this time. I'm sorry I left you hanging last time, but so excited to be coming on after a win this time, as opposed to just a heartbreaking Brighton performance.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure who you aired. It wasn't me, so I'm okay with it. And I know that you and Dave seem to be best buds at the moment, so I know it wasn't Dave. So I imagine it was probably Jack or Elton, one of the two. But they'll get over it. They're fine.
Yeah, it makes you feel any better. I air everyone, and then I'll just chime in with a controversial topic, like maybe like about every 50 or so comments. Like to remind people I'm there.
And I mean, yeah, but there you go. I mean, this is probably the most vast geographical we've ever been, really. I mean, to get Mike in as well as Aberense, that's mad. That's insane. Never been done, I don't think.
It's never been done.
You were on with myself and Mary and Dave, right?
Yeah, I was. And, I think this might be calls for us to just all meet in the middle. I think the UK is kind of the middle, maybe just slightly off. But, maybe this is we all meet at a match, right? No? Maybe?
I mean, in this economy, if you're shouting my ticket, yeah, sure.
No, we've all established that Elton is the financier of the pod. He will pay for everyone. So send your expenses. Just make sure you get a VAT receipt, and he can work his magic.
Yeah,
love it. I mean, straight in the chat, we've got Claire. Claire's in with us. Welcome, Claire. A Wheat Bix and Vegemite is the fuel. That's
Sammy, what's the stance on Vegemite for you? Because I hear it's either a love it or it's like eating tar.
I mean, there is so many more interesting things that we could actually discuss, but it's just really simple.
I'm interested.
Really simple. I used to be a hardcore diehard Marmite boy, because again, the lore is we did grow up in the UK. But recently, actually, I've been appreciating the thicker yeast. So I've been kind of leaning a little bit more into my Vegemite time. It's really simple. I'm going to explain it to you. It is nice, Mike. So what you do is layer of butter, get a nice layer of butter, and then a light coating of Vegemite. It's a wonderful, tasty, nutritious time. It's B12.
Yeah.
So more importantly, bringing it back to Fulham, though, is Mark Schwarzer a Vegemite fan?
Oh, he must be. He must be. Like you
He
can't.
has to be.
Yeah, you can't. Like I mean, it's okay. It's a lot more commonplace and it's a lot more established early. We have different taste buds. Where like I can't eat anything in the US because, as far as I'm aware, it's all sugar. So yeah,
That's
it's
probably
just
fair.
different. Just different profiles. You know. Speaking of
I'm
different
just saying.
profiles,
Yeah.
speaking of different, like, we can actually talk about football at some point, or maybe not. I don't care. Like it's 5 a.m.
We can.
Who gives a shit?
Well, I mean, no one's listening there, but there you go. I mean, I know that the Australians are definitely asleep. The American, I mean, this is where I'm really bigging it up now. There's the UK audience, the American audience are expecting big things. So maybe we should talk about Fulham a little bit,
Okay,
and then
if
come
we-
back to Vegemite at the end because I think that's definitely a chat there. But and then we can bore them to sleep and then they can leave while we talk about that. But no, I mean, it was a fantastic week for Fulham. I mean, probably a pivotal week if I'm not over sort of egging it a little bit. And I think, with the... Do you know what? I'm getting sick of this. And these slides that people can see, by the way, if you're listening to this later on, the slide says passports at the ready. That was a Jack thing. I'm so annoyed with the fact that we keep going Europe on, Europe off. Oh, yeah, we're going to be on the European tour. Oh, wait, we dropped points here. And now it seems to be back on again because we've got an unbelievable result against Liverpool, which nobody expected. I think, going back to Mike's point, a disappointing result against Brighton, but a win against Liverpool at home doesn't make any sense. But here you go. That's Fulham for us. But I mean, to get your guys' views, I mean, going into Liverpool at home, in the position that they're not in any more cups. I think there's literally... the league that they're playing for now, 12 points ahead. Did we expect them to sort of turn up like they did, Sam, I guess?
I mean, look, I've been watching Liverpool all season, and I've been really in awe of like what they've done and how they've completely reshaped themselves. I mean, the Prem's literally theirs to lose right now because no one's giving them a proper run, and they've been so aggressive all season. So I genuinely thought we were going to get a spanking, especially off of the back of like Crystal Palace and Arsenal. And I was just so genuinely delighted. It kind of just reminds you why like we love football, just because again, it's just kind of you can never take your eyes off it because anything can like turn around, and it's all about who rocks up there on the day. And just I can't this is why we follow our club, because the wins are so much bigger. And I thought watching Dead Poet Society was just going to be the highlight of my week, and like this just took it to like the next level. Like young Ethan Hawke is a close second to Rodrigo Muniz and Sessegnon. It was Sess and Muniz. It's just everything. It's delicious. I loved it. I was so happy. Couldn't predict it.
Sorry, I just have to squeeze this in. Did Jedi's performance have you standing on your chair? Oh, Captain, my Captain.
I did love it. Yeah. I was going to find a way to work Oh, Captain, my Captain already in there, but you've done it for me. And that's why I missed
Clogs are always wearing clogs. But I mean, on that point, Mike, the performance from Salah, it was only 2 games this season where he hasn't registered a single shot on target. The first game was Fulham at Anfield. Second game was Fulham at Craven Cottage. I mean, that's got to solidify Jedi as the best left back, if in the Premier League, if not in Europe right now, surely.
So when I grew up playing, football shorts didn't actually have pockets on them. I'm starting to think that Jedi is fully adopted being an American, started wearing basketball shorts and had the deepest pockets possible, because we keep finding Mo Salah and other remnants of Liverpool in there every time we play them. It's really wild. It's like he doesn't leave home without packing his keys, his wallet, his phone, and Mo Salah somewhere in there. In all seriousness, though, Salah was not doing anything against us. Jedi was phenomenal. His endurance, his pace, I was saying this after the Arsenal game. He looked a little tired, and it was telling that Marco decided to pull him off after the Palace game at the end and bring on Cess instead. I was really excited to see him back to his springy and pacey best. I loved the overlaps that we were getting. It creates a new dimension. I think it brings a lot out of our midfielders as well as Iwobi as well when he's able to do that. And it also gives Bassi a little more license to maneuver, and I think it allows him to play at his best as well. So, yeah, I think it has to solidify Jedi as, if not the best left back in the league, potentially, the best left back in Europe as well. And as a full American, I am very, very proud to be able to say that.
Yeah.
No, it was a phenomenal performance. And I think I don't want to take anything away from the performance on that left side, especially, but the fact that they were missing that right back, they had Curtis Jones, who didn't look very comfortable. He sort of went missing at times, but you just felt like if we needed a game where it was going to be not easy for, Iwobi and Jedi, but one that they can really sort of take them to the sword, that was the game. And I think they did exactly that. But I mean, that stat do you know what? And I hope that this year that Salah does win the Ballon d'Or, just for that fact that I can always go back to. Well, he can't do it against Fulham, so he can't be the best in the world. I mean, I saw some teams sort of completely tear us apart before, and none of them were Salah, so there you go. But, I mean, that brings me to another point, I guess, on this game. This was a game where we saw another chance of a Fulham number 9 being an absolute thorn in Van Dijk's side. I mean, when we first got promoted, Mitro gave him an absolute hell of a time. But this time, Muniz was just so strong, and he just seems to be growing. And I don't know if it's just me, and Sam, this is probably coming your way. There's something about Muniz that he's so raw. I think we forget that he's only 23. But for him to score a goal like he did against Liverpool with, the nudge on Van Dijk, no respect, which I absolutely loved. Then the touch sort of over the shoulder, kind of a bit lower, but away from him, hold him off and finish. That is an elite number 9 moment. That is something that we've probably seen from Muniz, always sort of trying not the unexpected, but the flair of a number 9 that's probably not seen very often. There's a player there, isn't there? There's got to be something where it's going to click, and it's going to just suddenly become more consistent from him, surely.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I've been very guilty on this pod, just saying that I don't really think he can play a full game, because everything that I've seen, pretty much the past couple of seasons, I always forget how young that boy is. I completely forgot he was 23. I know that makes sense, but we've just actually been with him for so long, because this is probably at least his 3rd season at the club, and his development has just been such a joy to watch. Because yeah, you're right, there's always kind of been something there, and yet with his confidence growing, he's just taking more risks. And the risks that he takes versus Jimenez's risks, they just feel a lot more calculated. They feel a lot more kind of, a lot less chaotic, because Jimenez kind of plays a little bit like a Jackson Pollock painting. He's just all over the place. Whereas there's a strength and a sophistication, I'm going to call it what it is, sophistication to Menez's game that I really, really, really enjoy. And he just backs himself sometimes. If he, as you said, if he can get into that consistency, I don't want to say the sky's the limit for him, because I mean, having a world-class Brazilian striker in the Premier League on your side, that just invites more eyes than I want on him. But for this moment right now, he's just such a joy. And also as well, I just love him. I love that he's really, really our boy. He's our guy. We've nourished him. I'm really into plants at the moment. He's like my peace lily. I just keep watching it grow, and it's just lovely watching it grow. I see new sprouts all the time, and it just makes me happy.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that he's calculated risks around, well, more so than Jimenez is definitely a point, and I think we're seeing those sort of that kind of risk taking from him, but it's working for him. I think when you kind of see what he's doing, I think with Roll for me is when he does that kind of flick around the corner that doesn't work, you kind of like, oh, just hold on to it, just don't give it away. Whereas with Muniz, he's trying something special where he's really trying to make something for himself, and I think those sort of risks are kind of applauded rather than the needless ones where it's the ball's given away and they just look a bit shit. But I mean, Mike, coming to you, I mean, in the top 5 leagues of under 23 players, they've done goals per 100 touches. So everyone is currently sought after the guy from Ipswich, Delap. Delap is on 4.22 goals per 100 touches, right? Do you know the stat before I ask?
I think I saw the stat. I don't want to spoil it in case I know.
All right. Well, I was going to say 4.22. Where do you think Muniz fits into that bracket?
I think I saw, was it 6.3 or something?
7.66.
Wow.
Jesus.
So he is and bear in mind Delap is linked with Chelsea, Man United, I think similar age. And don't get me wrong, he's had a great season, but you've got a player in Muniz who is in the same league who is outperforming him, and apparently Delap is worth 50 million. I mean, what does that say about our boy? Surely that means he's a world beater, right?
I may be stepping on the toes of the next segment, but there are some rumors of that already coming out on
it's a
on
great
our friends
segue.
down
I like
the road.
Yeah.
Looking at him. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Muniz, we've always talked about being a confidence player. We talked about it last year in his purple patch. The comparisons to Mitrovic have not gone unnoticed in that sense. Like, at the end of the day, he clearly has so much confidence right now. Marco has rewarded the faith in him. I think the older players have put their arms around him across the board. We already know about his relationships with Willian and AP, but honestly, I want to talk about Jimenez for a second in kind of how this relates to Muniz, because I have a slightly different perspective on this. I think they are totally different profiles of striker that we have been angling for years, from when we were talking about would Bobby play up front or Cavallero playing up front instead of Mitrovic. Right now, we have two fundamentally different types of strikers where you see Jimenez have such control over the game. He loves to get the ball into feed or turn that corner when he can. I remember the goal against Arsenal, or even at the end of the Liverpool game, where Jimenez gets the ball to feet and sets up Harrison Reed for that shot on target that almost scored. It's a totally different game to what Muniz is doing. Muniz is physical. He wants to battle in the air. He wants to bully people. It's a little bit of, as we said before, calculated chaos, organized chaos. And I think that kind of profile and the ability to have both of those guys, I think I've seen the stats aggregated that they score a goal every, 120 minutes between the two of them. It's a game and a half, give or take. Like, it's making me think at the end of the day, maybe we don't need to be investing immediately in a striker for next year, provided that Jimenez doesn't necessarily fall off a cliff, that we have two very interesting, different kinds of profiles of strikers. Maybe we can continue to groom Muniz to be the number 9, but he hasn't been forced into this role. And I think so many times we rush young players. When we gave him the 9 shirt, I was actually really concerned that maybe this was just going to be a little too much too fast. But I think the fact that he has had to earn his way in, he has had to prove himself every step of the way, has actually benefited him. And you can tell every time he scores how much everybody loves playing for that guy. Sam, I heard you say before that everybody's just rooting for him. And I think that really creates an environment where people want to see him succeed. He loves Fulham. He knows the opportunity we've given him. And I think, as we said before, the sky really is the limit if he can find that consistency.
No, absolutely. And I think also when you look at it in sort of the back-to-back season, so last season, obviously, we had an injury to Jimenez, who was our main striker. He came in and went on an absolute run of goals. And I think he put away, was it 9 goals that season? And I think now he's on 8 goals. So I mean, for the and we've still got a good 8 games left, and I think that's for me is showing that kind of progression in the right way. That he started off and came into the team when we most needed him, and it was a bit touch and go. We were all thinking, oh, he's not the one to. It was a bit of a joke when we were all sort of calling, I remember, for Muniz to come on because, we'd all given him the nicknames of Money Muniz and all these kind of things, but, he was never that kind of major option for us. But he is now becoming that option and has got a great chance of becoming that number 9 for us. And we're starting to see that 9 goals last season, already on, I think, 8 now to this season, that he can now progress into double digits. And hopefully that will be push him to really push on and make that statement of, I am the number 9, I am the guy to lead us forward. And that does solidify my kind of thoughts of we're just missing that winger, that goal scoring winger, which I think would just be fantastic. Sam.
Well, that's another great segue. We're just segueing each other. We're just like those like monkeys that just like hold hands like a hive mind. I love it.
Wait. Before we move off Muniz, I do want to point out one thing on him because Sammy, you pointed this out earlier that he, had kind of come in that Skivvy just said we had all these expectations for him. We have to realize we've had him for 3 years. He's 23 years old. Do you all know how many games he played in Brazil, like in a first team setting, before he came to Fulham?
Is that a question? Like
that's a real question. Do you know how many matches he had played in like senior football?
Wait, do you know the answer?
I do. I had to look this up.
Cool.
But I did look this up.
Okay, I like the setup. Okay, I don't know how 15. Many. 15. Okay. I'm gonna say.
If you say 14 or 16, you're a dick.
No. I'll lowball. I reckon because we got him very, very young. Because I remember when we got him because he made a raucous claim that he wanted the number 99.
I think he was 19 when we got him.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say he played only maybe about 8 senior games.
So you were both a little low. He had played a total of 35 games in 2 seasons.
That's okay. That's
35. He had scored 10 goals in 35 games. But for a kid he was a kid. I mean, he was 19, 20 years old. I don't know what y'all were doing at 19, 20 years old. I can tell you I had not played that many matches. And to come in and play all of these games in the Championship and the Premier League, it almost feels like a no duh. He obviously was going to take some time to develop, and we're reaping the rewards of that. And I mean, getting into the wingers, we should be looking at players who can complement, the game that he wants to play, as well as, having somebody who can, potentially play a slowed down game as well.
I want to talk
just
about
one quick thing. Quick thing, because Claire's made a fantastic point as well. The fact that he's scoring against Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal is a real statement, right? He could do it against the best. Build a team around him. The kid can score. Sorry, go Sam.
Oh, I was going to say, I want to talk about Sessegnon, particularly Sessegnon's performance, because in the similar kind of like sentences that we've been speaking about Muniz and him being our boy and developing that, I really, really liked seeing, I don't want to say like the return of Sess, but I like being reminded of what he can potentially do. And again, it's just a confidence thing because like the player is there. And it's really, okay, Sess is a funny one because I think with Muniz has always known as like the player that he is. And I think he's just been looking for the opportunities to like show that, which I love about him. I feel that Sess almost needs to be reminded of who he is by like being put in specific positions and not more of like a metaphorical sense as opposed to an actual positioning. And it was just so great to see him on the right because is that the first time he's played on the right season? Because I feel like he's played a couple of games on like the left.
I think against Arsenal he came on the right, but
okay.
I don't.
Yeah, we've seen him play a couple cameos on the right.
Yeah, that was the first time he's like started on the right.
Yeah, but I mean, like that first goal that he scored, he was so vicious and he was just there and he came in so hard and I loved that because I mean Iwobi, there's a bit more of I would say he's a bit more of like a tactician. He's not necessarily he doesn't have that same intensity and obviously, like Traore has intensity, but he doesn't have an end result. And I have conditioned myself to be okay with him just being a crosser now. So it's so good to just see Cess have that bite. And I would love you guys take on this.
Go for it, Mike.
Yeah, it's really interesting because you ask what Cess does well. Cess doesn't have a killer move to beat someone. He's still pacey, but he's not Adama pacey where he's just going to beat someone down the wing. Cess's superpower is his ability to be in the right place at the right time. And we've seen him do it from the wing back position. We're now seeing him doing on each wing. And the goal he scores is another Cess classic goal where he's just in the right place at the right time. He finds that space and gets the shot off. It's not necessarily the prettiest finish. It's not necessarily, the most, skillful, but he's there in the right place and puts a hard shot on target. And that's all you can ask for. So I love seeing it. There's a piece of me, and it's not a one-to-one comparison where I almost see him as becoming the new Bobby Decadova-Reid to a degree, where he plays the left, he plays the right, he drives the bus, he makes the tee, he does everything we need him to do. And I see him as a winger. I think Marco is starting to adopt the idea that he's a winger. But it's really exciting to see him score. It's really exciting to see him back at home and understanding the gravity of the opportunity. Because look, he was training with Crystal Palace in the free period, and it's one of those things where if there's a different version of this story where this doesn't go right and he's actually playing with his brother in League One or something like that, and he's embraced the opportunity with both hands, and I agree. I couldn't be happier for him.
I think it's quite an interesting comparison that you make with Decadova-Reid, because I think that the way that I would, rebuttal that is, we were just talking about Muniz being, he's still young. He's 23. Cess is only 24. He's still young. he's still got that. I mean, I still think there's a lot that he can offer us, and I think you're quite right. He's never been. I mean, he's quick, but he's never been like Saka pacey or Salah pacey, and he's never had that killer move like you say. But I think that right place, right time intelligence is something that you really can't coach. And the fact that he's had that since he was 17 is ridiculous, by the way. And it's just been one of those things where it really pisses me off knowing that he went to Spurs when he did, and they put him at like a left wing back, because that was never going to be his thing. And I think it goes back to like Moussa Dembele being a real kind of been a real key player for Spurs in the way that they did, but they nullified him massively. Like the guy loved to get the ball at his feet, run at people, and and did that very well for us and got so many assists. But when he went to Spurs, they brought him back. He was a centre defensive mid. He never went past the halfway line because he was so strong and so good on the ball that he would win it back and distribute to Modric. Win it back, give it to Bale. And you're just like, he's doing it great, but you're not getting the best out of him. And I feel like that was the same with Cess if he didn't have his injury problems, because I just think that a lot of Spurs fans that I know were sort of turning on Cess a little bit because they were saying he's not a very good left back, he's not very defensive, and I was like, well, yeah, no shit, we could tell you that, but get him in the box and he'll find the net. And he still managed to score a few goals for Spurs. I think a couple of goals in the league throughout the sort of the torrid time that he had. But I'm really glad that he's sort of come back, found his feet, pick up from where he left off, and to start getting amongst the goals again. You're just seeing him grow, and not in grow in ability, but just grow in confidence. And like, he's trying more. And like you say about would Cess at the start of the season when he signed, would he start on the right and take on his man, tussle with Van Dijk? I couldn't see that kind of side of Cess at all.
No.
But the fact that he's been so well managed by Marco to get into the squad, bringing him back, he's enjoying football again. And then you just see this, this confident player coming out, and we're now seeing the rewards. And I think, he would be up there for signing of the season for me. I mean, if he carries on how he is going and how he's progressing, Sessegnon on a free is a ridiculous transfer. Sorry,
Oh my
Sam, you
God.
wanted to go.
Skibby, do we want to talk about the competition for that though? I'm not sure it's a very strong competition as of right now.
I mean, the only point that I was going to make is Cess reminds me of My Chemical Romance in 2005. It's like we can see the beginnings of the Black Parade, but we haven't got it yet. So I'm just optimistic for like the future because something is on the horizon with that boy.
All right. Well, I was going to say I'm not okay was an absolute banger. So are we saying that was the Sessegnon in like the championship or?
Yeah, sure. It's like we have the inkling, but we haven't had the timeless. We've had bangers, but we haven't had the timeless thing that we will remember for years to come. That is the Black Parade of Ryan Sessegnon.
And I mean, Mike, to your point, we probably will get into transfers probably later on towards the end of the season. But I mean, Berger's got to be up there.
Oh, can we talk about Berger though? Because I genuinely thought Berger actually had a really great game, and
he was good.
He's been really kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit because there was so many good performances. But I really want to give Berger his flowers there, Sandy Berge.
Yeah, the point where I think he picked the ball up for Iwobi's goal, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of whose goal it was, but he picked the ball up and just drove into the space. And I was like, we've been crying out for a centre mid to do that for God knows how long. But he does that very, very well. I mean, I suppose we should talk about the Bournemouth game because that is coming up. And I think that's actually the point of this whole podcast, but here we go. Do you know what? First thing I'm going to say, Mike, we're playing on a Monday, afternoon for you, which probably sucks because, for HR reasons, you're at work. But I mean, isn't it quite nice going into a weekend where your weekend isn't completely ruined by football?
I couldn't agree more. I'm going to have a very relaxing weekend with my family, and I'm sure they'll appreciate me not running to the bar at 9, 10 a.m. to make sure that I'm making it to the match. I'm not going to lie though. I'm sure you all have a slightly different perspective on this, but looking at the Bournemouth match, this is actually the one that I think scares me the most out of the run-in that we've had. Like,
I actually agree.
I was nervous about Arsenal. I was nervous about Liverpool, but fine. As much as we don't want to talk about free hits, there's a bit of a free hit here. Chelsea, we've gotten our win against them. Maybe we do it again. Maybe we don't. This one makes me nervous because this is the one that I can see us being, and I'm going to drop the name of a different podcast for half a second, us being way too Fulhamish.
Yeah, get that out of your mouth.
But Bournemouth have been awful for the last, I don't think they've won a match since February. I think it was February 20. I was looking this up before. I don't think they've won it since they beat Southampton. That really scares me, at least in the league, because this is the type of game that we drop. And it sucks because Bournemouth have a lot to play for. We have a lot to play for. Everybody's been talking in the media about, Iraola and Silva both being up for the Spurs job. Everybody's been talking about these presses into Europe. And this just makes me feel uncomfortable. And even going back to when Scotty Parker was managing Bournemouth and left us in a very acrimonious fashion, we have not, I don't remember the last time we've beaten Bournemouth. So this is the one that makes me really, really nervous. Just their form being a little low. They've looked tired. I just don't want to see them come a little more re-energized, considering this match has a little bit of extra rest for both sides.
It really does scream like red card and 3-0 loss, like in just the most irritating way. I just feel like that.
And burning the passports.
100%. I don't even want to entertain the idea of Europe at the moment. It kind of comes off like whenever I speak about it, it comes off like I'm talking about like a really toxic situationship, just with somebody who's significantly more attractive than I am. It's like because I'm like, nah, but we had a moment the other day and we did the thing, but then they it was 3-0 against Crystal Palace. But we've had some other moments and stuff like that. I just feel a little bit insane when I talk about it, so I'm just not going to talk about it.
I mean, I will say on the European front, like, yes, it's great to dream. Like, yes, I would snap your hand off. This is not what I ever expected when I became a Fulham supporter. Yeah. But that being said, you look at the teams that have made Europe earlier than anticipated, and the drop off. And, so we talk about Burnley the first year that we came up. and beating us, but they had an issue in Europe. And look where they are today. You look at Wolves, where they sit today. They went way too quickly. You see Leicester. There would definitely need to be serious investment and long-term planning for us to not only have success in Europe, even in the Conference League, but also just to continue to grow into our position in the league today.
But I think the only thing that excites me about the potential of the Conference League is you look at the final 8 now, and I mean Chelsea are in there by complete mess up on their end, like complete admin mess up. Like, but you look at the team. So Legia Warsaw, Betis, fair enough. Who the hell is that? Jagiellonia.
That was
sounds
brave
made
of you,
up.
Skibby. That was brave. I would have just said J team.
Yeah. Well, the point is, I don't know who half these teams are. So, a lot of them, there's the only teams that I recognise are Fiorentina, Betis, and Chelsea, and they're in the final 8. We could win that competition. I'm not being funny. That's the scary thing, is you can win that competition as long as there's no
West Ham won
fluke. Well, West Ham won it. I mean, they played Fiorentina, I think, in the final, but I mean, it's got to be on the minds of the players to. I think Anderson put it perfectly. We've got 7 finals now to get us over the line, but I mean, and Bournemouth being one of those really, really tough hurdles. Obviously, we're competing with them for the spots.
Yeah.
And it's not even about Europe at this point. Yes, you get money in Europe, but the higher up the Premier League you finish, the more money you get. So obviously, we want to finish up as high as possible and see what can happen. But I mean, Mike, from what you just touched upon, Bournemouth's run on paper is absolutely terrible. Like, they lost 1-0 to Wolves, drew 2-2 with Tottenham, which we understand is awful. They lost 2-1 to Brentford. They lost 2-1 to Ipswich. Drew 2-2 with West Ham, and I know that we lost to West Ham at away, but they were terrible, and we just had to give them goals. That's not a fantastic run-in, I should say, the sort of the latest run for them, which means that, they're going to be a bit brittle. They're going to be a bit shot of confidence because, they're probably starting to overthink, thinking, we're on the cusp of Europe as well as where Fulham are sitting, but, we haven't won in the last 6. Drawn 2 games, lost 4. That's ridiculous. But at the same time, all bad runs come to an end if they start firing in. And I mean, the game at the Cottage, I believe, I want to say it was 2-2.
I think so. And they were flying at that point.
Yeah.
Evan Nilsson was a great striker. I remember I think he might have got both goals, but just a ball over the shoulder of Anderson and just latched onto the top of
I think, what was his name? It starts with I think he's Ecuadorian, because that was the game that Diop gave up that horrible pass at the end and then got fouled in the box. That was the Issa Diop. That was the Issa Diop game.
Classic Issa.
Yeah.
But no,
although I do miss Issa at the moment. If anything, I wouldn't mind seeing Issa. If that's a conversation you guys want to have.
I thought Anderson actually was really strong against Liverpool. Like, Calvin Bassey obviously getting the plaudits there, but I think Anderson was right there with him in terms of commanding the defense, making the clearances when they need to be made. I'm sure we'll talk about projected lineups in a moment, but for Bournemouth, but mine is sticking with Anderson right now.
Ooh.
If you asked me before Liverpool, I would have said Diop in, because it was against Palace where Anderson just the only reason he gets the nod over Diop is for his passing. And his passing has been absolutely woeful as of late. We're just not utilising the long pass. He's not making the long passes. They're just not connecting. And I was just thinking, well, if we haven't got his passing, then what's the point of him? Because I much prefer to have sort of Diop as more of a threat from corners. But, I would have to agree with Mike that, given his performance against Liverpool, he did redeem himself. I thought Anderson was very strong and very composed and just seemed to do all the right things. And well, same with Bassi. Bassi was ridiculous. So I just think that Anderson sticks. But, I mean, we can talk about, I mean, do you agree, Sam?
I think I mean, look, we're saying, yeah, I think I'm kind of edging for Diop. Like we're saying this in a very like Laberson kind of lethargic kind of way, or maybe that's unfair to Mike. You're definitely like, yeah, I guess we should go with Anderson because he played a decent game. I feel like it could be a good opportunity to maybe bring in something else like Diop, just because I think we really fall apart with teams that are kind of like on our level. Because, for lack of a better word, we're pretty easy to work out. And I don't necessarily think that Diop is going to take some kind of mastermind to work out what he's doing. But I do think that there is a security in him that allows everybody else to be a little bit more free up. Because, again, he prioritizes strength over everything else. And I think just with the confidence that I have in Berge and Lukic in the midfield at the moment, I kind of want to prioritize as much strength as physically possible. I've also just recently watched The Mighty Ducks 3, and that whole film is literally about defense is more important. And this game screams
friendship
defense.
Was more important.
No, not in Mighty Ducks 3. Actually, in the Mighty Ducks 3, it's really interesting. They get this new coach in, and but like they get this new coach in, right? And
they're all in high school.
Yeah, they're all in high school, and his whole thing is stop scoring goals because you need to learn defense because you have to play two ways. And it's actually a really good message. And then it's a whole lot of like teenage angst. You don't understand me, but I'm like,
I was going to say that sounds like the Scott Parker method. We don't need to score goals. We're just getting draw 0-0 all the time.
Sam, I think you've taken a great message out of that, but I think you've misunderstood the Fulham application because there's a great defender that's sitting on our bench right now that can impact the game in a very serious way. And this is the match I want to see him back for. We got the King Kenny Tete cameo against Liverpool. He has extra rest coming in. We've all said Castagna looks tired, and he is deputized phenomenally. But how is this not the game you bring back Tete for? And we've talked about how much better Anderson looks alongside Tete. That's the one I want to see.
That makes way more sense as well. And also as well, Mike, can I just say, I'm going to really give you your flowers there for the earnesty that you indulge my Mighty Ducks.
I love those movies. Mighty Ducks 2 is Knuckle Puck time. It's Knuckle Puck time.
Knuckle Puck time. Hell yeah. Keenan Thompson at his finest.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Although Good Burger, too.
Good Burger.
That better than I expected. But yeah, I would love to see Tete in all seriousness back in for this match. I would love to see him shutting down a couple of the wingers because Bournemouth have talent on the wings. And we have unfortunately had to see Castagna look really tired against wingers like Martinelli. When Saka moved over there for a minute, he looked tired. I want to see a change there. Give him a little bit of a break. Let Tete deal with somebody like Semenyo this week.
Yeah. No, I was going to completely echo that, really. I think Kluivert was injured for the last game. Whether he's back for us, I don't know, but hopefully not. But yeah, just to have that more athletic, well-rested fullback would be killer, I think. But we know what Marco's like. He doesn't like to change a winning formation. And I think given you don't get much bigger than a win against Liverpool, so it might be his kind of no-brainer moment where he just keeps his side the same, which I probably wouldn't be against. But like you say, as of late, okay, I'm going to give Castagna his dues. He did handle, was it Diaz on the wing?
No, Diaz came in off the bench.
He came on, didn't he?
He came on.
Because it was Diego Jota, Salah, Gakpo. He handled Gakpo really well. And I thought that was because against Arsenal, he got absolutely roasted by Martinelli every time. And I was where we were sitting for that first half, they were kind of running at us behind the goal, but on that byline, oh man, Castagna, poor bloke. It was just roast. Every time Martinelli got the ball, he just didn't look like he was going to win it at all. And that kind of gave me a bit of nerves going into Liverpool, where they've got so much talent on the wings, but he stepped up to the plate. But I think if we were to make one change, that would be the change I want to see, especially against some... They've got some great wingers, like you say. But I think Semenyo being one of them, Evan Nilsson, obviously, as a striker. But I think when you look at the actual lineup of Bournemouth, it doesn't slap you in the face and you think, oh shit, this team's got talent, right? I'm not going to belittle them, because I think they are a good team, but you don't look at it and see it as like an unbeatable team, if that makes sense. So obviously, like Tyler Adams, you've got Cook in the middle as well, Lewis Cook. I think Alex Scott is very good. And then obviously they've got a rival at left back being Kirkes, for one of the best left backs in the league. Not sold on that, but hey.
That was a grimace for the audio listeners.
That was a grimace of Kirkes. Bang average. No,
it was almost Borat-esque, like guys.
So here's a question. No, here's a question though.
Almost got
you're 100%, Skibby. You're 100% right. Like that team is, there are some beatable players in the team. They do have some world beaters. Evan Nielsen is phenomenal. I mentioned Semenyo earlier.
I mean, for 40 to 50 million, right?
Right. Huijsen has been phenomenal. But you look at who's playing right back for them. And I think it's Adam Smith still, if I'm thinking right here.
It is.
There's a part of me, and I know Sam is going to jump down my throat right after this, because I loved seeing Cess out there. I'd be really excited to see him start again, but there's a part of me that wants to see Adama run Adam Smith ragged and make him go cry after the game.
No, I'm gonna jump down your throat in support of that.
Oh wow!
Yeah. No. This is all love here. This is all love here. Don't worry about that.
Can I just quickly add something though?
Yeah.
Adam Smith is one of the best players in the world, and I won't hear any other words around it. The only reason is because back in the day, young Skibby had to mark Adam Smith, and I got absolutely rinsed. It's the closest I wanted to cry that game. I was only like 9. 9 or 10, and he used to play for a neighbouring town, and yeah, you could see why he was getting picked up by Spurs at the time. But yeah, best player ever.
But now you're here, and you've also made it. So
who's really made it? Look at me. Exactly. I'm drinking beer on a Thursday.
Yeah,
I bet he's having nutritious water.
Podcast,
Exactly. He's drinking nutritional water and can't have a good time.
Yeah, Mike goes to the pub at 9 a.m. Like
exactly. Even when Fulham aren't playing. The intervention's next week, by the way.
Yeah. And by the way, who are we going to get? If you Google Skibby versus Adam Smith, who do you think we're actually going to get more hits for? Like, who do we find first? Exactly. I'm pretty sure you find Skibby before you find some guy with, the name Adam Smith. There might be 13,000 of those in the world right now.
Yeah, unless you like economics or something like that, as far as I'm
concerned. He's not even the best Adam Smith. Come on.
He's not. There's so many.
No, but yeah, I think, so my mind went awry there. But so you're saying Cess out and Adama in? Is that what you were saying?
I hate to say it, but part of me really does want to see it. I don't think we can bench Cess just because, again, he's been so on form and he's been scoring. But there's a piece of me that really does want to see Adama run at him the entire way through and then have Cess come on.
But that's where I've got a bit of a gripe. When was the last time you saw Adama run in behind or actually run at someone?
So I think we have this weird notion that Adama is this great player coming off the bench. And the reality is, we've seen it with other players. Raul's another one. It takes him some time to get into the game, to get involved, to get locked in. And I think coming off the bench, he's actually somehow less effective because he's not engaged. And you're right, the last couple of games, he's absolutely not been running in behind, running at people. But he's also been coming off the bench all those games. And I'd be kind of interested to see how he would play in this type of match.
No, I mean, that's a valid point. Sorry,
I think they're both good options. It's kind of like if somebody came to me and was like, would you want to watch Shrek 2 or Shrek 1? I'd be like, I'm quite happy with either of those. I probably prefer Shrek 2 a little bit more than Shrek 1. But again, I'm very happy with the evening that you have provided to me in either scenario. So I could basically in any situation, I'm quite a happy boy with that.
Sam, in the States, we have something called Disney Adults, which you are now striking me as, and it's scaring me a little bit.
Disney adults. I mean, I can bust out some William Blake poetry. We can talk about Monet if you want. Like, I'm quite fond of Matisse. Like, Mike. This is the first time you've done this with me. We can just go, man. Like,
I love it. Although I'm probably about as culturally aware as your sunglasses are, so I'm not 100%.
You're doing great. You're doing great. You drop Knuckle Puck like you're doing just.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I can do movies all day, but no, I am slightly concerned that you may be a Disney adult. We can find you a nice a nice hotel suite in like the Disney Tower for you next time you're in the States.
Me and Skibby will come. We'll share a bunk bed together. It'll be great.
I'm all about it. So I mean, center of the park, going away from Disney adults. We're going to go Berger and Lukic. I mean, do you feel that Berger and Lukic is the right choice? Do you not feel that it's quite defensive? Or do you feel that, against Lewis Cook and, Alex Scott and the other guy that I said the name of, who's now I've completely forgotten.
Hey, don't go against Tyler Adams. We know
forgot the
Americans here, yeah.
yeah, that forgettable guy. Do you feel that, this is a game where that feels like they're just going to dominate physically and you would win the ball but potentially not have that progressiveness that you wouldn't get with, or that you may get with sort of TC, for example? Or do you feel, that is definitely the way to go, Sam?
Dominate's probably a bit of a strong word because I never really feel like I would never describe Lukic and Berge as like a dominant duo. I just find them incredibly stable and consistent. I would say Reed and Polina, that was a dominant duo where that literally they were just messing shit up the entire game in a way that was very, very fun to watch, but not as consistent as I'm finding Berge and Lukic. I understand the argument to maybe get TC in, and I feel like he can provide something, but just with the way in which TC is kind of progressing with his career, I kind of prefer him as an option off the bench to kind of like bring in some creativity at a later point. And I think I want to stick with those boys. I think for me, they're kind of really solidified as my center mid pairing of the season, and I think they've done the work there to kind of solidify that spot. So I don't really want to change it too much.
Mike, do you feel the same?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I as much as it was great to see Reed back incorporated, it's been great to see TC back. I don't know how you change that. The only argument I can think of is Lukic picked up another yellow card in the last game. Is that going to impact us in the last couple? Do we need to save him a little bit? He has started to look a little leggy in the last couple matches. But that being said, we're in the home stretch now. To quote for Sammy, another Disney movie, we're in the end game now. We need to be really blitzing every single match with the best that we have to offer. And I think there's no replacement. Maybe we deal with this in the offseason. There are a couple of players that I would love to see being brought in as potential rotational players for those two. But right now, the two I trust are Berger and Lukic.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And I think dominant is probably, I would say the wrong word, but also the right word. They're both very physical. And I think that's where I would say that the dominance would come into it. I just feel like they are both tough tackling midfielders with a little bit of, tenacity about them, especially with Berger. He can drive forward. But no, so I think we're all in agreement that it's going to be a game for the taking. They don't exactly scare us that to in a way that, Liverpool might or Arsenal might. Claire says we all just need to let it go, let it go. Getting involved.
I think we need to rename this to a Disney to something Disney.
I mean,
related.
it is Disney related.
To be fair,
that's so Raven.
Yeah, that's a Craven.
No,
yeah.
no. I meant the podcast or the episode. Of
I
podcast.
see. Yeah, we'll ditch Jack's rubbish title.
Yeah, no passports at the ready.
Admittedly, like Shrek is a DreamWorks film. I will say that, and I
wasn't going to mention it, but it is.
Yeah, and I don't think Dead Poet Society is also a Disney
That is
film.
not.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could fact check that. We have a wide variety of interests here.
I'm going to push you guys for a prediction. And not about whether Shrek 5's coming out or whatever.
It is coming
out.
It's already been confirmed.
Oh, it looks terrible, actually.
Wait, that's Shrek 4, though, isn't it?
No, it's Shrek 5. It's got Zendaya in it.
Jesus.
Like, it makes no sense at all. Yeah. Different.
I thought it was a joke when I saw the animation, but there you go.
Yeah.
Mike, how are we looking on this one?
I want to be an optimist here. I really, really do. And my head is telling me that we're in for a scare. My heart tells me it's a 2-1 win, and that's what I want to go with. So we're going to go 2-1. If you're asking me for goal scorers, I'm going to say we're going to go for I really want to pick Jedi. I know so many people are waiting for his first Premier League goal. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do Jedi, and I'm going to do Iwobi in the left side scoring 2 goals.
Ooh.
Nice. Sam?
I kind of want to go 2-1 as well. I know that's really boring, and it kind of feels like I am leaning a bit on like Mike's thing. But I feel that like I have to back a 2-1 because I really feel like that's, if I'm using the logical part of my brain, I feel like that is best case scenario, because I'm really I have a lot of fear and hesitation about this game. And I feel that 2-1 is probably the thing that I'm actually the most comfortable with saying. So 2-1 Fulham at this stage. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope we completely ransack them. And but until then, I will be trepidatious.
Nice. I think it will be cagey. I think it will be Bournemouth just trying not to lose, trying to pick themselves up after their recent form. But I think Fulham will also be cautious. Again, just trying not to lose on the road. I think the key here is win at home, pick up points away if we can. So I feel like it'll be a 1-1 draw. And I don't think that'll be an end of the world for us. I think as long as we don't lose to them, I think that's the main thing. But and Claire going for a 3-1 win, Fulham.
I love it. The true optimist of all of us.
Always, yeah. I was thinking about the 6-0. We're due a 6 or a 5-0, but I don't want to tempt fate in it going the wrong way.
Can't do it. Can't do that.
I mean, last but not least, there's something I wanted to talk about, which was, did you see the picture/video of Castagna riding his bike?
I did see that.
I love it. I love it.
Fantastic.
He's on the Jedi training program. He didn't get to run enough on the field, so he decides he has to bike home.
Hear me out. I absolutely hated it. I think it was the worst thing.
Okay, what? Okay, all right.
The reason I absolutely hate it
You're coming in so hard.
We've got one match fit right back.
Now we're
and he wasn't wearing a helmet. I'm like, dude.
It'd be for helmet safety.
I'm like, man, don't be like, oh, I know, guys, I know the people who are saying, oh, I'm comfortable, I can ride a bike, no problem at all. Don't do it for you, man. Like, I trust his cycling skills. Riding around London, there's always cars that just poke out, knock you off, and do all these shit. And then all he takes is one little tumble, and we're suddenly no right backs.
We got Kenny back.
I love that your love language is just getting aggressively angry at Timothy Castagna, where like, I love you so much, so I'm gonna hit you if you don't wear your bloody helmet.
So much. Give him a knuckle. Like, I'll give him a noogie when I see him next. I'm like, oh, well, if you were wearing a helmet, then this wouldn't hurt. But it was great to sort of see, and it seems to be a right back thing, doesn't it? Because we have like Castagna, we had Moritz Volts, and I think Dennis Adoy as well. For some reason, right backs just love cycling. But yeah,
And
that was just my
not
gripe.
wearing helmets. I feel like that's a fair gripe. I will pay that in full.
Moritz had his helmet. Always had his helmet on.
You were checking. You were checking.
I was.
Oh.
But guys, this has been.
I mean,
I think it's been the most movie references we've ever got into one podcast, I think. So
I've been really building them up for you.
We'll have to go through.
I love it.
We'll have to go through and count them, and then we'll have to set that record. And because I don't think after this, and take this in the best way possible, I don't think after this we're going to be allowed to do this again. So
this is
just
what
have
you
to be.
You have to have an adult on every call.
We're going to have the counter of how many movies it was in this one, and then we're going to have to try and beat that, but obviously with the adults of the team. So
I mean, I've been told that I'm not allowed to host anymore, like in private conversations, because Taz has literally just been like, "You're just too chaotic," and I'm like, "Fair," but I'm giving the people what they want.
Exactly. Well, Sam, you've been looking mighty fine in that kimono. For people who are listening on Spotify, jump over to YouTube to see the kimono in its full glory. But no, thank you very much for setting your alarm. It must have been 5 to 5 or something like that to come and join us.
It's actually about 4:30. It was about 4:30. But like he who binds himself to a joy doth the winged life destroy, but he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity sunrise. So I haven't been desperately waiting, but I have appreciated the moment that I've had with you boys today. It's a William Blake poem.
That's fantastic, and it's been great to have you here, Sam. And here's Mike. Thank you very much, Mike, to see us out with his poem.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have that, so I'm just going to say, come on, you shagging whites. Let's get another win this week.
That's it. And yeah, I mean, that's all I left to say is the only poem I can think of off the top of my head, which is beans, beans, the wonderful fruit, the more you eat. And thank you very much for everyone in the comments. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And as always, come on, you whites.